So the next topic is incorporation and organization. We'll discuss the following: number and qualifications of incorporators, a capitalization, corporate term, classification of shares, articles of incorporation, corporate name, and commencement of corporate existence. I will forgo as it's not part of the bar syllabus. Bylaws, corporate officers. We already discussed this nonetheless. De facto corporation and corporation by estoppel. Number and qualifications of incorporators. Under the RCC, the number and qualifications of incorporators have been modernized to allow greater flexibility in corporate formation. As we already said, a corporation may now be formed by one person, known as one-person corporation, or by multiple incorporators. This is in line with ease of doing business. Now, who is an incorporator? Who is an incorporator? An incorporator under the code refers to a person or entity who is named in the articles of incorporation as of the original, excuse me, one of the original members forming the corporation. Incorporators must meet specific qualifications and are essential in the initial establishment of a corporation. So if you look at the definition, what makes an incorporator, unique? Siya yung una na tao or entity na makikita sa isang corporation. In fact, the name of an incorporator is inscribed. It's written in the articles of incorporation submitted to SEC. So, an incorporator therefore is one of the original members forming the corporation. So, ano yung mga qualification ng isang incorporator para maging incorporator siya? So, if you look at Section 10, says incorporators may be natural persons, partnerships, association, or corporations. So if we talk about incorporators, they are not limited to natural persons under the RCC. So yung mga unang members or stockholders ng isang corporation could also be partnerships, associations, or other corporation. Okay? And under Section 10, these are the qualifications. If the incorporator is a natural person, then he must be capacitated in the sense that he is of legal age. Each incorporator of a stock corporation must own or subscribe to at least one share of the capital stock. If what is to be formed is a stock corporation, then those who initiate the incorporation process, yung mga original na stockholders, must be a subscriber or owner of at least one share. Now, in this case, SEC versus AZ 1731, Realty Incorporated 2022, the court emphasized the importance of compliance with the qualifications of incorporators. The inclusion of a deceased person as an incorporator was deemed erroneous by the court, and the corporation was ordered to amend its articles of incorporation to remove the deceased incorporator. Okay, so you cannot include in the articles of an incorporation a deceased person as is not qualified under the RCC. This is without prejudice, of course, to filing criminal charges against those who falsified the document. This case highlights the strict adherence required to the qualification and validity of incorporators. The court also clarified that incorporators must submit truthful and accurate information, as submitting spurious or falsified documents may lead to penalties or revocation of the corporation's registration. So aside from possible charges here, the SEC may revoke the corporation's registration for providing erroneous information. So yan ang incorporator. Now, how do we distinguish an incorporator from a corporator? Magkaiba po yung dalawa. An incorporator is a specific type of corporator. So mas broad ang meaning ng corporator kaysa sa incorporator. So an incorporator is also a corporator, but this kind of corporator is explicitly named in the Articles of Incorporation as one of the original founders of the corporation. While all incorporators are corporators, not all corporators are incorporators. So this difference would be useful in distinguishing the roles and responsibilities of corporators from incorporators in a corporation. Section 5 of the RCC defines corporators, okay, without in, okay, corporators lang, as those who compose a corporation, whether as stockholders in a stock corporation or as members in a non-stock corporation. On the other hand, incorporators with IN are those stockholders or members specifically mentioned in the Articles of Incorporation as originally forming and composing the corporation and who are signatories of the Articles of Incorporation. Original incorporators, oh, the original corporators therefore are called incorporators. Now, how do we distinguish incorporators from stockholders and members? Incorporators are the persons who initially forms and composes a corporation by signing the Articles of Incorporation. In contrast, a stockholder or a member may join the corporation only after the corporation has been formed and their names, okay, may not exist or may not be found in the Articles of Incorporation. So a stockholder or a member does not necessarily need to be an incorporator. How about the difference between an incorporator from directors and trustees? An incorporator, as we said again a while ago, kita yan sa Articles of Incorporation, yung pangalan nila. While directors or trustees are individuals elected to manage the corporation's affairs. So the distinction lies in their roles, the time of their involvement in the corporation, and responsibilities within the corporate structure. Okay, this difference between incorporator and corporate officers. Corporate officers are individuals, okay, either elected or appointed to specific provisions or positions as provided in the bylaws of the corporation. Again, their difference lies in their roles, responsibilities, jurisdiction over disputes. Okay? So magkaiba sila. Okay? A corporate officer need not be an incorporator. An incorporator need not be a corporate officer. Magkaiba po yung role nila. How about an incorporator from a promoter? Diba? Makikita mo rin yung promoter at time the corporation is being formed. So what's the difference between them? Incorporator, in paper, makikita mo yung pangalan nila sa Articles of Incorporation. While a promoter, hindi kailangang magpakita yung pangalan nila sa Articles of Incorporation because they are distinguished by their role. A promoter is someone who undertakes the preliminary steps to organize a corporation but not necessarily part of the corporation's formal structure. So sila yung tumulong sa paggawa ng corporation but not necessarily the ones who will be incorporators where their names appear in the Articles of Incorporation. There is no express definition of promoters under the RCC, but they are generally understood as individuals who undertake the initial steps to form a corporation. So ano ba yung ginagawa nila? Hindi naman sila incorporators, pero paano sila tumutulong sa pag-form ng corporation? Well, promoters secure capital. They may help in drafting necessary documents for incorporation, and isa rin to sa pinaka-important na role nila, sila ang naghahanap ng incorporators. Sila naghahanap ng investors ng corporation. So, promoters are not necessarily part of the corporation's formal structure unless by voluntary decision, and if they are qualified, they elect to be an incorporator also. Okay? So promoters are recognized as individuals who act in a preparatory capacity. They are not automatically part of the corporation unless they meet the qualifications of incorporators or stockholders. A number of incorporators. Section 10. Basta hindi lang lumampas ng 15. Yan ang requirement. There is no minimum for the number of persons who will form a corporation. There is only a maximum, 15. Dati 5 to 15. Ngayon, 1 to 15 na. Qualifications of incorporators must be of legal age. For stock corporation, each incorporator must own or subscribe to at least one share of the capital stock. A natural persons who are licensed to participate or to practice a profession, as well as partnerships or associations for such purpose, are prohibited from forming a corporation unless otherwise allowed by special laws. So if the purpose of these natural persons is to establish a corporation for purposes of practicing, okay, their profession, it's prohibited by law. So I repeat, ano bang qualifications ng incorporators? How can individuals start, or okay, who could start, okay, a corporation? Unang qualification is dependent on the kind of incorporator. If natural person yan, he must be of legal age. Now, depending on the kind of corporation, may qualification rin. For stock corporation, ang requirement, ownership or subscription to at least one share. So kung stock corporation yung hindi kailangan na natural person yung incorporators. Pwede namang partnership or corporation mismo ang stockholders. But what is required only is that incorporator or those incorporators must own or subscribe to at least one share of the capital stock. Now let's talk about capitalization. Again, the RCC, okay, made some significant changes to the corporate capitalization rules in the old code. It removed the minimum capital stock requirement for stock corporation, except when specifically required by special laws. The purpose of this reform is to encourage ease of doing business and promote corporate flexibility. So wala nang minimum capital requirement for stock corporations. So this provision eliminates the previous barrier for small and medium-sized enterprises to incorporate. Now, as to the process of increasing capital stock or decreasing capital stock, you have Section 37 of RCC, which provides the procedure for increasing or decreasing capital stock. Okay, what the provision requires is approval by the board of directors and 2/3 of the outstanding capital stock at a stockholders meeting. So if you break down the requirement for increase and decrease, you need these things. Number one, you need approval from the board of directors. Second, consent from stockholders. Paanong consent yan? Okay, the consent is manifested by the approval of 2/3 of the outstanding capital stock. And third, okay, this corporate action of increasing or decreasing capital stock must be done in a stockholders meeting. Now, there are subsequent compliances. So pag napalitan yung articles of incorporation due to the increase or decrease in the capital stock, there are documentary requirements or there are submissions that must be done to uh, the Securities and Exchange Commission. Okay? May isa-submit ka sa SEC. Now, how do you pay these tax? What are the acceptable forms of consideration for the issuance of stocks? Section 61 it provides the acceptable forms. It could be cash, property, labor, services, and other generally accepted forms. So hindi lang pera ang pwedeng consideration, but these other forms, property, labor, even services, okay, could be accepted as payment for the value of the stocks. Now let's talk about corporate term. Again, there are changes to this topic because the RCC now provides perpetual existence as the default. Perpetual existence na ang default corporate term. And the only exception is if the corporation chooses another term as expressly stated in their articles of incorporation. Now, the purpose of this amendment or this revision is the simplification of corporate operation and reduction of administrative burdens. Kasi matrabaho po ang mag-renew ng corporate term. Jurisprudence has clarified the application of this provision, particularly in cases involving extension or revival of corporate term. Now, what is the legal basis for perpetual existence? Section 11 of the RCC. It provides that corporations now have perpetual existence unless their articles of incorporation specify a fixed term. Now, this perpetual existence, this rule, okay, applies to both new corporations, meaning corporations formed under the RCC, and those already incorporated in the old code. So kung walang ginawa yung mga corporations created under the old code, then ang default existence nila is perpetual existence. Now, corporation with a fixed term may extend or revive their corporate term by amending their articles of incorporation subject to the approval of SEC. So yung mga pumili ng fixed term, they did not avail perpetual existence. These corporations can extend or if they forgot or overlooked documentary requirements or compliance with renewal, revive their corporate term. Okay? Revival restores all rights, privileges, and liabilities existing prior to expiration. So take note, hindi lang yung rights ng corporation, yung powers ng corporation ang mare-restore if a corporation seeks revival, but also all its liabilities before the expiration of its term. Now, in First Philippine Holdings Corporation versus SEC 2020, the court emphasized that perpetual existence is now the default corporate term under the revised corporation code. So the court also clarified the process for extending or reviving a corporate term, including requirement for SEC approval and the rights of dissenting stockholders to exercise appraisal rights. Now, kailan natin masasabi na dissolved na ang corporation? In Stablewood Philippines Incorporated versus CIR, okay, 2024, the court reiterated that a corporation is not considered dissolved kahit na meron na silang board approval, may concurrence yung stockholders nila. Kung wala pang approval ang SEC doon sa amendment to shorten corporate term and the amended term lapses, then the corporation is not considered dissolved. Diba there are ways to dissolve a corporation? one of these ways is to shorten corporate term. Tapos pag mag-lapse na yung term niya, the corporation is deemed dissolved. But it was clarified in this case. Kahit na sinor-turn mo yung corporate term by amending the articles of incorporation, the SEC still needs to approve the amendment. Okay? Not complying with this procedure means that the corporation's action is not recognized by the state. So, the corporation, okay, is still liable for fees to the government as if it did not dissolve itself. Now, classification of shares. Well, if we talk about classification of shares, we are talking about a stock corporation. Okay. Section 6 of the RCC provides that shares may be classified into different classes or series with rights, privileges, or restrictions specified in the articles of incorporation. Further, states that no share may be deprived of voting rights except for preferred or redeemable shares unless otherwise provided by law. Furthermore, holders of non-voting shares retain the right to vote on specific corporate matters such as amendments to the articles of incorporation, mergers, and dissolution. Okay, shares may have par value or no par value, but certain corporations are prohibited from issuing no par value shares. If you look at the provision itself in the RCC, mahaba po yung section 6. Mahaba po siya, but what we can learn here is that shares are classified into different classes and series. And the classification would indicate the rights as well as possible restrictions on the shares. Kung walang description yung share na binanggit or binili or sinubscribe sa isang corporation, kung walang classification yan, it is considered as a common share, one with voting rights. It's only when the shares have a particular denomination that a share may have restrictions. If the share is dubbed as preferred or redeemable, pag makita na yan, there are restrictions there on voting rights. Now, on the issue of non-voting shares, katulad ng isang preferred share. So kung preferred share ba yan, ibig sabihin in all corporate matters, hindi na nakakapag-exercise ng right to vote yung shareholder? The answer is no. Okay? In some corporate matters, in specific corporate matters, nakakapag-vote pa rin yung mga non-voting shares, yung mga preferred or redeemable shares. Yung owners pa rin nila pwedeng mag-vote. So in what instances are non-voting shares allowed to vote? Dito, amendment of the Articles of Incorporation, mergers, dissolution, pwede pa rin mag-vote yung non-voting shares. Now, when we speak of preferred shares, they may have priority in dividends and liquidation but are typically non-voting unless specified otherwise. Redeemable shares may be reacquired by the corporation under the terms set in the Articles of Incorporation. Founder shares, ito binibigay yan doon sa mga founders ng corporation. These shares may grant exclusive rights, well, as a form of paying back the efforts of the founders, such as voting privileges for a limited period not exceeding 5 years from incorporation. Treasury shares, previously issued shares reacquired by the corporation, which may be resold. Now take note of this 2009 case, COCOFED versus RP, Republic of the Philippines. Court emphasized that non-voting shares retain voting rights. Okay? So kahit na non-voting yan, they retain voting rights on critical corporate matters like amendment of articles of incorporation, mergers, and dissolution. So this ensures that even holders of non-voting shares have a say or participation in significant corporate decisions. Okay. Uh, so we're done with classification of shares. I have a separate video detailing the discussion on shares, but for now we'll just leave it as that. So let's articles of incorporation, corporate name, and commencement of corporate existence. So this topic measures on how applicants or those who want to form a corporation will go through the proper registration process, make compliances, and also after doing all these things, their corporate identity will also be protected. So articles of incorporation, ano ba tong articles of incorporation? Section 14 of the RCC outlines the required contents of the articles of incorporation. So yung articles of incorporation must bear the following. It must indicate the corporate name, the purpose of the corporation, the principal office, the term of existence, incorporators, and the capital structure. The template is also provided by the RCC. So the code characterizes the articles of incorporation as the primary document for corporate registration. That's the main document to be submitted to SEC for registration. Now, how about one-person corporations? Okay, their articles of incorporation must include additional details such as the nominee and alternate nominee. So kung may mangyaring masama doon sa single stockholder, how will the one-person corporation continue its existence? Now, this additional detail in the articles of incorporation is a solution to that. Kasi mag-isa lang yung... so, in consonance to the concept of succession in corporations, there must be a nominee and an alternate nominee who will continue the functions of the single stockholder in case of his death or incapacity. Dapat na pangalanan yan sa articles of incorporation ng one-person corporation. So the articles of incorporation is a necessary documentary requirement that must be submitted to SEC for verification and approval. Now, an articles of incorporation could be amended later on, as one of the powers of the corporation is to amend its articles of incorporation. And the amendment must also follow the procedures outlined in the code. So articles of incorporation, that is the primary document for corporate registration, providing the corporate name, purpose, principal office, term of existence, incorporators, and corporate structure. Corporate name. Under Section 17 of the Code, the law prohibits the use of corporate names that are not distinguishable from already existing ones or contrary to law. So the main requirement for the approval of a corporate name is that it is distinguishable. That's the key word, distinguishable. Corporate name must be distinguishable. Now, the SEC has the authority to reject or order the cessation of a corporate name that causes confusion as it is not distinguishable or violates existing laws. The priority of adoption rule, okay, granting the first registrant the right to use a corporate name. The priority in time is priority in law. So parang sa civil code rin. Okay? First registrant has superior right than subsequent applicants for that the same or similar corporate. So again, applicants must come up with a distinguishable corporate name. Okay, commencement of corporate existence. So in here, we must discuss what is meant by organization and commencement of business, as well as the so-called delinquent status, okay, for non-operation, not stage 2, status, okay, of non-operation. So may stages rin. Okay, there are stages on how a corporation will do business. Ang unang stage would be organization. Okay? When the corporation is already born, meaning when it already received the certificate of incorporation by SEC, it needs to organize itself. Okay? Take note of that, organize. Magkaiba ang organization sa commencement. Under Section 21, the RCC mandates that corporations must formally organize and commence business within 5 years from the date of incorporation. So kung na-receive na nila yung certificate of incorporation, the corporation has 5 years to do these things. Organize, that's one. Commence, that's the second one. Now, if a corporation did not organize and or did not commence business within this 5-year period from incorporation, then there is automatic revocation of the certificate of incorporation. So sinabi natin, magkaiba yung organization at saka commencement of business. So what is the difference between organizing the business and commencing the business? Organization involves acts capacitating the corporation to transact. So to be more specific, a corporation organizes itself by electing its directors or trustees and its officers. The corporation organizes itself if it files its corporate bylaws if it did not yet file its corporate bylaws together with the articles of incorporation. Also, organization involves establishment of the physical office, establishment of the principal office, providing subscription and payment of capital stock, organization rin yan. And all other steps necessary to endo this corporation with the capacity to transact the legitimate business for which the corporation was created. So yung mga actions that would capacitate itself to transact, this is what we mean by organization, organizing the business. Ngayon, kung meron na siyang board, it's now ready to transact business. It can now commence business. And by commencing, it means performance of preparatory acts germane to its purpose. So ano ba yung preparatory acts na to? Examples are, entering into contracts or negotiations for lease or sale of properties to be used as a business or factory site, making plans for and construction of the factory, taking steps to expedite the construction of companies' working equipment. So itong mga preparatory steps na to, which are germane to the purpose of the corporation, are considered part of commencing business. So organize, okay, these are acts capacitating the corporation to transact. Commencement of business, these are acts which are preparatory in nature that are germane to the purpose of the corporation. Both organizing and commencing must be done within 5 years from the incorporation. Failure to do so would result to the automatic revocation of the certificate of incorporation. In Lim versus Moldex Land Incorporated, kailangan mag-comply ang mga corporation sa proper organization and operation of corporations. Electing directors. Okay? What is that? Organization or commencement? That's organization. So forming the board, organization yan. As it will capacitate the corporation to decide, to transact, to come up with its policies, organization yan. Building physical structures for the business of the corporation. That's not yet operating, but that is commencing. Kasi pine-prepare mo yung corporation, purpose niya. Okay? Now, aside from organizing and commencing business within the 5-year period, there is also a requirement for the corporation to actually operate. So if a corporation becomes inoperative for at least 5 consecutive years, the SEC may place it under delinquent status after due notice and hearing. Okay, the corporation is given 2 years to resume operations and comply with SEC requirements. Failure to do so, okay, results in revocation of its certificate of incorporation. Now, let me clarify this point. Under Section 21, there's a rule there. Di ba sinabi na natin na kailangan mag-organize at mag-commence within 5 years? Pag na-organize na at nag-commence na yung corporation at may compliance na within that 5-year period, the corporation must now operate. If a corporation does not operate within the period of 5 years, then it will be in a delinquent status. Yung delinquent status na yan will be imposed on the corporation, the inactive corporation, the non-operating corporation, after notice and hearing. So kung walang notice and hearing, a corporation, even if actually non-operating, cannot be considered as delinquent. So dapat may notice and hearing. Now, if the corporation, after compliance with notice and hearing, is placed under delinquent status, it must resume its operation within a period of 2 years. So mag-resume ng operation, and on top of that, must comply with SEC requirements. Ngayon, paano kung naging delinquent yung corporation pero hindi nag-resume ng operation niya and or hindi nag-comply sa requirements ng SEC? And that's the time that the corporation's certificate of incorporation will be revoked. Ulitin po natin yun from the top. Within 5 years, the corporation must organize, commence, and operate. If a corporation did not operate, it could be placed under a delinquent status after notice and hearing. Under a delinquent status, a corporation must resume operations within 2 years and comply with SEC requirements. If a corporation did not resume within the 2-year period or did not comply, then its certificate of incorporation is revoked. Now, take note also, under the code, may mga reportorial requirements, and failure to comply with reportorial requirements for 3 times consecutively or intermittently within a period of 5 years would put the corporation under a delinquent status. That is in Section 177 of the RCC. So aside from the requirement of organizing, commencing, and operating, in the latter part, Section 177, may requirement rin ng compliance, okay, for reportorial. Kung 3 times na hindi nag-comply within a period of 5 years, then a corporation will be placed under a delinquent status. And if placed under a delinquent status, ano na yung mangyari? Kailangan niya mag-comply. If it did not comply, then its certificate of incorporation will be revoked. I think we'll end at this point. We'll continue next meeting.